A show created by the fans, for the fans. We are your home for Ohio State football coverage all year long. The Scarlet and Gray Podcast, a Network 216 production. Live weekdays on the Network 216 YouTube channel. Send us all your questions and comments on Twitter at @VSG_podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Tyler Johnson, Jordan Dalton, and Nick Leisure.
Good evening, Buckeye Nation. Welcome to a national championship edition of the Scarlet and Gray Podcast. Tyler Johnson, Nick Leisure, Jordan Dalton. Gentlemen. It feels good to be a national champion today. How are you guys doing?
Good. We called it all along. We knew it was going to happen. We were saying it all season. We were going to be national champs, from the get-go. No, we had no idea this was going to happen. So, it was a pretty good feeling, especially after Nick and I went to the Ohio State-Michigan game, got our hearts ripped out at home. Feeling pretty let down and miserable, and I just remember calling him on the drive home and just being like, man, that was the worst way to end the season. Like, even if we go to the playoffs, like, there's no way we run the table if we play like that. And so to be able to sit here and look back on the last month of football and what we saw out of this team, it's a really good feeling to be a Buckeye fan.
Yeah, dude, I thought we were cooked. Michigan comes to town, just physically outmans us, beats us up. Like, yeah, there ain't no way we're winning a natty like this. So, I know we're going to get into it, but just a phenomenal run from these Buckeyes all the way on their road to Atlanta to win the big one. So, yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about it. It was a great night last night, and yeah, let's get into it, dude.
Yeah.
You guys think of it this way. You guys sacrificed going there and freezing your butts off, taking a loss to get us to where we are. So look at it that way. There's plenty to talk about tonight, guys. Before we do, as a reminder, let's make this the biggest show of the year. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. Let's celebrate this Buckeye victory together again. It truly, just after last night, absolutely incredible. Show that support, though, for the channel. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new. The show will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you miss any of the live show tonight on YouTube. So make sure you don't miss it there. But, again, plenty to get into. But we do have a great giveaway that we are actually doing. Well, not a giveaway, my apologies. We are working with a great partner that is allowing us to promote one of their products that Buckeye Nation, you guys got to make sure you go and get it. It's from Nico Sports. I'm going to pull up the image here. We've been sharing it pretty nonstop here the last, I want to say, it's been less than 24 hours. But they have given us the opportunity to share with you guys the awesome commemorative championship football that they have. So real quick here, let me pull it up for you guys. I know there's already a decent amount of people in the chat, so make sure you go and get one as soon as you can. They're not going to be around long. National Championship Football, Ohio State Edition. I know that says the score, like there's some things on there. This is the original image they sent us. It's all been updated. You can even customize this a little bit more to your liking. There's only a limited amount of these, so you need to make sure you go get yours. It's been an incredible ride. The highs, the lows, everything in between, the unforgettable moment when Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith, and this incredible team brought us glory by winning the national championship. We felt that pure euphoria that Ohio State fans flow through their veins, and now it's time to celebrate. Best way possible, guys. Go to nicosports.com. That's Nico, N-I-K-C-O Sports. Check out their Ohio State Buckeyes National Championship Limited Edition football and use our code SCARLET. Very, very easy, very simple. All in caps, SCARLET for $10 off your purchase. I'm telling you, these are not going to last long. You have to make sure you go get one now. All the championship gear at Dick's Sporting Goods, Fanatics, all of it's been flying off the shelves. These footballs will as well. So make sure you get yours. This has the national – you can customize this to have fully licensed, the national championship logo, full season scheduled, championship history, final scores, and much more. Like I said, customize it how you want. And the kicker is there's only 10,000 of these. So again, they're going to fly. Make sure you go get yours today. I know I'm going to get mine. I know Nick and Jordan are going to go get theirs as well. Again, NicoSports.com, NIKCOsports.com. Use code SCARLET to get $10 off your order. And thank you so much for Nico Sports for us partnering together in order to give you guys this amazing opportunity. Well, guys, again, an incredible night that we had last night. Ohio State beats Notre Dame 34-23. I'll admit, I'm still just – it's still hard to put into words what this season has been like. We'll talk about the game itself, but what has this season been like for you guys? I know we've talked about on this show before about Ryan Day. I mean, we've ad nauseum actually about is he the right guy to lead this program? Is he the right guy to lead this team to a national championship? And no more talking about that anymore because he did exactly that. So kind of put into words a little bit just what this season has been for you guys, what it's been like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Ryan Day is no longer the Nick Saban of James Franklin's. He is Ryan Day, national championship head coach of Ohio State. He really separated himself from that pack of the elite and like the very good college football coaches. He's no longer in that conversation with Dan Lanning as, potentially a good coach, kind of up and coming. Ryan Day's been at it. He's had a lot of big games, a lot of big wins, but he can never close that chapter on a season with a national championship. And then you just look at what this team went through with the losses, to Oregon early on, Michigan to end the regular season, all the adversity they faced, the naysayers, including people on this podcast, myself included, that really didn't think Ryan Day could get the job done here at Ohio State. Granted, he still can't beat Michigan, but does it really matter at this point? And that's a conversation we can have on a different show, but he was able to run the table and beat almost every team. I think they showed that graphic. It was like the top 8 teams in the country, and the only team we didn't play was Georgia, and we beat them all. And it's just like one of the most historic seasons in college football history. And I think he just proved all the doubters wrong that he can win a big game, and that he ultimately won the national championship this year. So not a lot for me to say a negative about Ryan Day right now. Nick, you're muted.
You're muted, bud.
No, like I was just about to say, that just the amount of adversity that, we faced all season long, injuries that come and go, specifically on the offensive line. I know we gave a lot of crap to Justin Fry, but got to tip your cap to him because he found a way to make it work. And, I know we had some great guys. Donovan Jackson, just if there's an MVP of the season, you almost want to give it to Donovan Jackson on the offensive side just because of he's an all Big Ten, All-American guard, moves out to tackle, arguably was one of the best tackles in college football this season. So, just adversity, overcoming obstacles. First-year quarterback at Ohio State with Will Howard, coming in. How is he going to control the offense? How is it going to look? Quinshon Judkins coming in, also a new piece of the offense. How is it going to look? So, just the pieces that they brought in, finding ways to get all these playmakers to football. It's just hats off to the entire coaching staff. They really just continued to find ways to win these games. The playoff stretch alone was just incredible. Won every game by double digits. Most of those games outside of Texas, the other 3 probably shouldn't have been close. You just can't say enough about this team. It is, when it came time to buckle it down, they did. They won the 4 that mattered the most, and they're national champions.
Yeah. No, I mean, you guys have summed it up beautifully. I mean, honestly, regarding Ryan Day, I have admitted I was wrong, and I'm proud to say that. I'm not afraid to admit when I am wrong. I don't like to do it like with my wife. I don't like to admit I'm wrong. But when it comes to sports takes, I'll admit I'm wrong very often because it happens often. But for Ryan Day, this is a guy that people came after his family. They sent death threats to him personally after that Michigan game, and he has been through a lot, like he and his family have, and no better feeling than winning a national championship here. Again, I was a doubter. He's proved me completely wrong. This entire senior class proved me completely wrong. What this does is cements your status as a legend at Ohio State. Forget what happened against Michigan. And I know that's crazy to say, but given everything that this senior class came back for, the ultimate goal, they talked about it, was to, like, they wanted to beat Michigan, of course, but that ultimate goal was a national championship. What did Quinshon Judkins say? After he committed to Ohio State, once Michigan won the national championship, the goal was to win a national championship. Will Howard, what was his goal? Win a national championship. They did it. They accomplished that goal, and we'll hit on some individual players here because I have just – I got a lot to say about Will Howard. I really do. But, I mean, Ryan Day, I can't tip my hat to him enough. Nick, you said about Justin Fry. Right here, I have been that guy that has slammed this man every time because of the recruiting aspect. And I'm not here to say it's still not an issue. But when it comes to what he's dealt with and to scheme it up the way he did to fix this offensive line, given all the injuries, you bring him back, you extend him, you find a way to figure it out as far as recruiting the offensive line. I mean, you have to find a way to do that at some point, but Justin Fry proved he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. So I'll give him that credit all the way because I fully believe he deserves it. And Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles is someone that I have had a love-hate relationship with because I wonder sometimes why he does the things that he does. Why, when we have these talented guys, we play 10 yards off a wide receiver and things like that. But I'll tell you what, when push comes to shove, the biggest thing with this team, with this group of seniors, is can they win the big games? And they did it time and time again. They beat the final top 5 teams. They beat every single team in that. And there's no team in history that has beaten top 5 teams in a season until this Ohio State team. So Jim Knowles deserves all the credit. We'll talk about what his future could be moving forward because there are some rumors out there, but historic season, absolutely historic. I do want to cover that at the end too, how this ranks compared to other seasons we've seen from Ohio State football teams. But we have some great comments so far. Running Baldwin, this is great. I stayed up past my bedtime to watch. I love that comment because you guys were even talking about, man, I hope this game doesn't start at 8 o'clock tonight.
It did.
But
it didn't.
It didn't. They moved a lot.
They were pretty close
than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so funny though because the way the game started with Notre Dame going on that long drive, they didn't get any TV timeouts in. So then the like next quarter and a half was like them catching up on TV timeouts.
Terrible.
So every time that they had an opportunity, it was like commercial break. And Josie came down and she's like, are they doing that thing again where they're just running commercials? And I was like, oh yeah, they're trying to get all those paid advertisements in right now. Like they sold all these slots. They got to make sure the ads are run. And
then Notre Dame comes out 9 minutes in the first drive of the game. It's like, well, what do you do with that?
Yeah, dude. I mean, again, we'll dive more into the game itself here in a second. Derek Lager says a word to describe it: a grind. Yeah, I mean, the way the new playoff is set up, it is a grind. He also adds third highest win percentage of all time. Ryan Day has. That's also just incredible. I mean, to think about. Now, again, he hasn't coached as many games as some of the coaches on that list, but still, I mean, absolutely incredible what he's done. Jermaine's Ryan Baldwin says Day's a great coach. Would still compare him to Cooper for now. This again, we're gonna have a whole episode because it's a long off season here. Actually, only 6 weeks until spring practice. But anyway, still off season. This will be a great topic. Running Baldwin, we're gonna have an episode on this because I feel like it's a fun discussion to have about Ryan Day stacking up to other coaches in Ohio State history and kind of just ranking those coaches so far. So we'll do that. Keep that comment because we're going to go into that a little bit later here this offseason. Jermaine says, we all hate Michigan, but that loss woke the team up to start the store.
So true, dude.
That's mind-blowing to me. I think, too, what it did, they talked about nonstop that meeting that Ryan Day had, just him and all the players. And apparently there was a lot said, a lot of honesty, a lot of yelling, a lot of going after one another. But Jack Sawyer commented, I'm sure you guys heard this. Jack Sawyer said we had two options. We could lay down and fold, or we still had our goal in front of us of winning a national championship. We can band together as brothers and we can get the job done. And that's what they did. But anyways, guys, so Ohio State starts off this game. I mean, about as good as you can. Notre Dame has the long drive. First off, let me say this. Let me ask you guys this. When you saw that first Notre Dame drive of the game, be honest, what were your initial thoughts when you saw that first drive of the game? And Notre Dame just milked the entire clock and just punched it in for a touchdown.
My initial thought was, if we don't score and respond on this drive, we are cooked. That was like literally verbatim to my dad. I'm like, if we don't score on this drive, I fear that we are cooked the way Notre Dame just manhandled us in that first drive. Just third and short. I'm screaming at the TV, QB power. It's QB power. It's coming again. And what happens? It was in your face. And again, that seemed to be Riley Leonard's downfall at the end of the game. Like towards the rest of the first half, he was pretty much useless. But yeah, my initial thought after Notre Dame just went down the field and just manhandled us was, one, we better respond, and two, if we don't, we're going to be in some trouble. But obviously, the defense woke up.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. Like, Notre Dame comes out there, not only do they go down and score a touchdown, they almost took the entire first quarter off the board. And coming into the game, like, my biggest worry was Notre Dame doing that every time they get the football. And it just, minimizes our opportunities to score. If we don't capitalize on our opportunities and they're just milking the clock, that's the way they beat us. So, like, them coming out of the gate like that, I was just like, this is a dream scenario for Notre Dame, and this is our worst nightmare, like, just unfolding. But as the game, progressed, we go down there, we answer. And then you could kind of see the talent disparity between the two teams. Like, Ohio State's talent was on display last night. And all credit to Notre Dame. They deserve to be in the national championship. They played their butts off. And like I said to you guys last night, there's not many teams that would be down 24 points in a national championship in the third quarter and fight their way back to a one-score game like Notre Dame did. And so you just have to give a credit to that team and Coach Marcus Freeman. He really had that team rallied from that loss against Northern Illinois week 2, and they went on a run and they put together probably their best season in 20 years. Like, if you just look at it, they were in the national championship game against Alabama in 2013. But they just made it through the 12-team playoff and made it to the national championship. They beat a lot of really good teams doing it. So yeah, hats off to Notre Dame for sure. I think they gave us all that we could handle, and they really exposed a lot of our flaws there in the third quarter. And our defensive backs definitely helped them out a little bit. But
that first drive, I was definitely nervous after that. Like, I was kind of with you, Nick, man. If we don't score this next drive, it might be curtains early, because at that point, if Notre Dame can just march it right down the field like that, like, man, because that was slow, methodical. But then I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys. I mentioned it to plenty of other people. I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys. I said, I don't think Riley Leonard can take 25 to 30 carries in this game, like, handle it. And turns out, after that drive, they stopped. He wasn't. I mean, they did it a couple other times. Riley Leonard went to the sideline, threw up. After he threw up, the offense completely went to crap for them. And then that's when Ohio State, of course, went on their huge run. I think the other thing, JD, I'm with you. I do give Notre Dame credit for battling this game, and that goes with the Marcus Freeman mentality that they have there at that program. Notre Dame's not going away. They are going to be a team that is going to contend for a national championship every single year. I firmly believe it. They'll probably have a case where every year they'll lose a fluke game. But, I mean, Notre Dame is a really good team. I think Marcus Freeman's a really good coach, and we saw that. But I'll also counter that with I also believe that we let them into this game. Like, they do get credit for coming back because, again, you need to have that mentality when you're down that much in a national championship game. You could easily just fold and just give up. I mean, because your season's over. They didn't do that. But I also thought Ohio State – I thought we got a little bit too comfortable. I was telling you guys, I was like, you got to come out in the third quarter. You got to really make a statement. Like, you got to bury them early. And that's the one thing that they didn't do, which is surprising because how many times this year have we talked about starting fast in the third because that's what we are.
Well, and we kind of did, right?
Yeah,
we scored a touchdown out of the gate.
And then we stopped them on downs.
Yeah, stopped them on the fake punt, and then we scored again to go up 24. And at that point, we're up 24 points. I think everybody in the stadium was feeling this game is over. Mm-hmm. Everybody on Ohio State's sideline was probably feeling, hey, we can kind of take the foot off the gas. And that's when Notre Dame kind of took the opportunity to go down the field, had a couple big plays, and got back into the game.
Well, yeah. I was going to say that – go ahead, Jordan. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I was just going to say, but, yeah, like you said, TJ, I think we definitely helped out with some of those penalties. Our defensive backs were the biggest negative for me in that game.
I was about to bring that up, Bambino.
Yeah.
Dude, so Bambino says, and then Nicola, so you were going to bring it up. He says, that fumble by Mecca changed everything. If he doesn't fumble, that it's a blowout. Turnovers are the worst possible thing to happen to a team.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame goes down. They score a touchdown, 10 plays, 75 yards, less than 5 minutes off the clock. They're moving the ball, throwing it around a little bit. So, okay, 31-15. I'm thinking we're in a good spot. We get the ball. I mean, it's a great play from Emeka, honestly. Like, to pick up the yards after the catch, he made a couple guys miss. He switched hands. I think what happened was when he switched hands with the ball, he just kind of got a little loose with that ball, and he just got punched straight out. I was like, oh, no way did this just happen, because it was really close. I mean, it was really close to him being down. Another half of a second, we would have been in the clear. But, of course, they review it. It was clear as day. Fumble. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude. And then what does Michigan do? I mean, not Michigan. Notre Dame come down. Luckily missed a chip shot field goal, and I mean, that was pretty much curtains, honestly, until the very end, I thought. But, yeah, the fumble was big. I got very nervous after that fumble because I was like, well, Notre Dame's got momentum now. They just scored a touchdown, forced a turnover. Now momentum's all on their side.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. Bambino, you're right. I do agree that is. It did change everything. Got a lot of questions about, are we going to talk about portal? Yeah, we're going to get to all of that. We're just recapping the title game first. Got to take a little bit of time to do that. We'll talk about, like I said, we'll talk about Jim Knowles. I've seen a couple questions about Knowles. We'll get to all of it. I promise you guys we will get to all of it. But, of course, the Buckeyes ended up putting this game away. So we were talking in our chat. The last drive, you see QB power, nonstop. And then I remember texting you guys. I said, "Bro, what is Chip Kelly doing right now? Are you kidding me? You have Travion and Quinshon in the backfield, and your solution is to run quarterback power back to back, including one of the plays that was telegraphed so badly that, I mean, I don't know what the thought process was there.
Oh yeah, we had the extra tight end in the backfield,
lined up in front of Will Howard.
Yeah, like offset a little bit. Yeah, it's like, I wonder where this is going.
Who has never had a carry in his career?
I know.
Like, dude. But anyway, you get to the third down call, and I can't say enough about Will. I really can't, and I'm gonna say some things about him here in a minute. But dude, the throw to Jeremiah, Ryan Day talked about it. He said there were a couple things we could do on that play, but the number one thing was going to be if we had one-on-one, we were going to take a shot. Dude, it's just, to me, it's just incredible. I mean, the throw by Will Howard, but then the other thing I want to make sure I touch on, that play doesn't happen without Travion Henderson with the block of his life and pass protection to make it happen. And, dude, I'll just say this. We've given a lot of crap for this team for being conservative. Like, why are we conservative in this situation? Why? The game on the line, and they're not. They go balls to the wall, and I can't say enough about that final play. I really can't, because it's just – I don't know about you guys. That was the last thing I was expecting on that play. I don't know about you. I was not expecting us to take a deep shot down the field in that particular situation.
I thought crossers was coming. That just seems to be the bread and butter. Get Emeka and Jeremiah crossing across the middle. One of them's going to be open. But yeah, I mean, when Will Howard said it today, as soon as he saw the one-on-one coverage, he's like, I'm throwing it up for 4. Go make a play. And the ball was right on the money. I mean, it couldn't have been – he just dropped it in the bucket like he did all night. Just throw after throw. And I know, Jordan, you said about how well he layers the football, if you wanted to touch on that at all.
Yeah, I mean, he made so many throws. I mean, just throughout the playoff run where he's throwing into these tight windows, but he's also throwing over the linebackers, and he's putting it on the only place that the wide receiver can catch the football and the defenders can't make a play on it. And like, he was doing that consistently, like playoff run. But then last night he had an out route to Emeka on the sidelines that he just layered it right over the linebacker. And I immediately hit you guys up, and I'm just like, man, like, he is making like NFL throws, and he's doing it like efficiently. He almost threw what was his completion percentage last night? Almost 80%, right?
Yeah, I mean, so real quick on the completion percentage, he set the Ohio State single season record. I was actually going to go into that. 73% for a season completion percentage. He started off the game 13 of 13, which is a national championship record to start off a game, and Nick jinxed him. So just
I did, dude. And you know what's crazy about that? You know what's so crazy about that? The ball that, of course, breaks the streak is that wheel route to Travion, which was a 50-50 ball, and Trey almost came down with that dang ball. And, of course, it just gets punched out right at the end when he tries to pull it from him. I'm like, dude, are you serious? As soon as we say
81% completion percentage, by the way, JD.
81 last night.
81 last night.
And I think that was his 8th or 9th game this season, over 80%. And it's so just I had to go back today and listen to some of these podcasts that we did early on in the season, before the season even started. I had to listen to what we were saying about Will Howard, because like, coming from an Ohio State fan, what we knew about this transfer coming in from Kansas State, knew he was a big body, knew he liked to run, very inaccurate, and had problems with the deep ball. So, like, that's kind of what our takeaway was when he was coming in. Like, so we're thinking, like, he's going to be a runner. First and foremost, like, we hardly ran this dude this year. Mm-hmm. Like, he ran for 200 yards. The most we ran him was in the national championship game, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. Saved it.
Yeah, saved it for the national championship game. And he had the huge run against Texas on 4th down. So he didn't really run the ball, which was like a big positive of his game. He was really good at read option, and we saw it a lot with like the RPO passing stuff. So he wasn't really running the ball, but he was making the read whether to hand it off to Travion or Quinchon, or make the throw out to the flat, or whatever the scheme was for Chip Kelly. But he did a really good job of that, because we knew coming in he was one of the best at read option. But the accuracy is what just, it gets me every time when you look at it. Like, this dude was throwing like 60%. He had a couple really bad games, and you actually dropped a stat, TJ, during one of these podcasts, that against top 15 ranked opponents, he was like 56% throwing the football. Mm-hmm. Like he was pretty awful. Throwing the football against ranked opponents, because we were comparing his stats to Kyle McCord, And we're just like, man, like the accuracy is just not there. You know, that's going to be the biggest like drop off is McCord's a little bit more accurate. And Will Howard just completely flipped his game. Like he came in, he was extremely accurate. He made a lot of really good decisions. Like he turned the ball over, but he wasn't as turnover prone as he was at Kansas State. And he really flipped the script and the narrative on him as a pro quarterback. And like coming in, that's what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to become a first or second round pick at Ohio State. And now we're starting to hear the chatter. Like a lot of these, Matt Miller was talking about it last night on Twitter. If you guys don't follow Matt Miller, he's one of the best, draft scouts. And he's always analyzing quarterbacks. I love following his stuff, but he was saying he was seeing things from Will Howard last night that he didn't know Will Howard was capable of. Yeah. And we've been seeing it all year. And, once it gets put on that national stage and you're playing against these big teams, like more teams are going to obviously get eyeballs on it or more people. And it's just like to go back and listen to what we were saying about Will Howard and just getting disproven about everything other than the leadership. We knew he was going to be a good leader and like he exceeded all our expectations. He's leaving Ohio State as a national champion. I know TJ, you're going to want to rave about him for a little bit, but I just had to go back and listen to it because I knew we were wrong on that. We weren't really
on
wrong
some aspects.
On some aspects we were, but we were just going off of what had already been put on tape right. And like what the kind of general consensus in college football was on Will Howard. He had the experience, he had the size, he had the champion, he had like the conference championship. So he's playing the big games. But man, like Will Howard, like hats off to him, man. Seriously.
Yeah. Nick, you want to go ahead and, or do you,
man,
or are you gonna?
I just think I know you're gonna touch on it too, but he just fully embodied what it means to be the quarterback at Ohio State. That's all you can say about him. And last night I thought it was so awesome. He was like, he thanked God for giving him a chance to be an Ohio State Buckeye, and you just don't hear that, right? You just don't hear that from players. And, he just really he loves the program. And you could just tell how passionate he was the whole season. His leadership is just off the charts. And whoever drafts this kid, they're like they were saying last night, they're going to get a pro. He can come in and he's going to work. He wants to get better. And that's why he came to Ohio State, because he knew, he's just, he was great.
I'm gonna play the clip. I'm gonna play the clip for people, by the way, so we have that on this episode.
I wish we had him for more than just a year.
So what clip are you gonna play, TJ?
I'm gonna play the Will Howard quick post game, with I believe it was Holly Rowe. I think
okay.
I think that's who it was.
So before you throw that on, they did the presser this morning with Ryan Day. Will Howard was on the podium with Cody Simon. Ryan Day said during this presser that they would give Will Howard 3 plays, and he would go and check which play at the line they were going to run, and he would change the play. And he said, he's like, that's a pro right there. Like, he's like, I don't do that with every quarterback. Like, I'm giving this guy 2 to 3 plays every time, and he's going out there and making the decision and executing, and we just saw it all season. And I know, TJ, you're gonna say it, but man, like, it sucks he's only here for a year.
Yeah, no, it really does. Sidelines, appreciate you tapping in. First time I've seen you in the chat. I'm sure you've watched before, but love having you on the show, so appreciate that popping up in the comments. Before we get to some more comments here and just some more on this game and talk a little bit more about Will Howard, I just feel like we need to have this clip for those of you that can't tune in live. I want to make sure this is on audio for you guys to listen. Of course, this is courtesy of ESPN. This is Ohio State quarterback Will Howard after the Buckeyes won the national championship. Be sure to take a listen to this.
Completing passes, running with the football. How would you describe the determination that you played with, especially when Notre Dame was threatening?
I mean, you got to give all the credit in the world to those guys, man. They fought their tails off, and we knew they were going to. We knew they were going to come back and give us a fight, man. But, first and foremost, I got to give the glory and the praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, man. I wouldn't be here without him. I wouldn't be here without my teammates, without my family, without everyone that bet on me back in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, man. I'm at a loss for words right now.
Speaking of your teammates, Quinshon Judkins with 3 touchdowns, Jeremiah Smith with kind of a game-clinching explosive play. How was your offense in control all night?
Yeah, I think we did an unbelievable job on third down and winning the situations. And, we talk about all the time we have to be the hardest playing team in the country, and we got to execute. We got to grade out champions. And I think we did a heck of a job when it came down to it of executing and getting our job done.
Your team faced doubt just over a month ago. How did you use that adversity to elevate yourselves, make yourselves good enough for this stage?
It made us come together, and it really challenged us, man. Like we were in a rough spot, and I just got to give all the credit to the guys in that locker room, man, for coming together and not letting that separate us, but letting it make us come closer. And I really don't think we'd be here if it wasn't for some of the adversity that we faced this year. And man, it makes it that much sweeter.
You came to Ohio State to do something special. Now you're walking off this field a champion. How has this group and Coach Ryan Day changed your life?
I don't have words, man. They've changed my life in more ways than I can say, man. And Coach Day and these guys here have completely changed my life. And I just, Coach Tressel said it when he talked to us, but I can't believe God gave me the chance to be a Buckeye. There's nothing like it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right. Anyway, I cried last night, so yeah, I'm all right for right now. But dude, I'll just say this. You guys hit on it, and I'll just reiterate. It's highly unfortunate he doesn't get another year here. Will Howard got 1 season, and he will go down for me as one of my favorite Buckeyes that's ever played here. And the reason being is this is a guy that the quarterback position just understands what it and he talks about it all the time, what it means to be a Buckeye. I mean, you can see the passion and heart that he plays with every single time. It doesn't matter the situation, guys. We have seen him throw pick 6 against Penn State on the road, start off down 10-0. Doesn't matter. Doesn't faze him. We've seen him throw picks against Indiana. We've seen it against all kinds of teams out there. We saw it against Texas. Doesn't flinch. Bounces back. We win that football game. Consistently, play after play. He's making a play. He's not letting one play beat him. And also, he's just a leader. This is a guy you would never know. If you just met Will Howard, you would never know he was just a Buckeye for 1 year. Never. You would have thought this guy's been here 4 or 5 years by the way he led this football team. And, a lot of people questioned when the Buckeyes brought in Will Howard, like, dude, are you kidding me? You brought in some kid from Kansas State that Kansas State's kicking to the curb because he isn't good enough to play there. And you know what? I hope a lot of people are apologizing to this man right now because he has been not only, just a great leader, but he is a legend. He is a Buckeye legend. He has represented this university with complete class. And again, it hurts. Like, I'm so thankful he won a national championship here with us. And like, he was our quarterback to do it because just the leadership, and it's impossible not to like the kid. With just the passion that he plays with for this university and what it means to him. But again, the fact that 1 year, it took 1 year for him to be a Buckeye, and he's forever a legend here. And just people doubt him about being the quarterback at Ohio State. People doubt him that he could lead a team to the college football playoff. People doubted him that he could throw the deep ball. People doubted him that he could win a national championship. And here he is right now, a national championship for the Ohio State Buckeyes. It's just kind of surreal, and it's just really I normally don't say this because I'm a Browns fan. He could go to Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and I'd root for this kid. I can't. I'm going to root for him wherever he goes. I hope it's not very far. I hope it's up. I hope it's up north to Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland. I really do, because I really love this kid, and it's one of my all-time favorite Buckeyes. So I know it's a little bit of a rant, but I'll seriously never forget Will Howard at Ohio State. He's just been – I was a little bit skeptical, I'll admit. I've always kind of been on the bandwagon that this guy, I believe he's good enough to win a national championship when others were doubting him. I still kind of like you, JD, kind of like we talked about, Nick, in this offseason. Like, can he do enough? And you know what, JD, you kind of hit it, man. This is a guy that's done more than enough, and now he has the opportunity to not only be on this NFL radar, he now has an opportunity to be a top 5 quarterback taken in the class. So, shout out Will Howard, man. Yeah. I'm going to miss you. And if you ever listen to this episode, I've DM'd you. I want you on the show so bad. If any of you guys in the chat can find a way to get me in touch with Will Howard, get us in touch. Find a way to make it happen, because I'm telling you, there's not a person I want more on this podcast than Will Howard. All right.
Dude, I just think it's crazy that when the lights were the brightest, he was his best.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that and like you said, dude, he didn't fold, never flinched, played hard every down. I remember the Michigan game, not one of his brightest moments, but he gets hurt. And he's running up and down the sideline, trying to pump the crowd up. He's like, I want back in this game. I want to be out there with my brothers. And, yeah, just embodied what it means to the brotherhood at Ohio State. And, yeah, it's very sad that we have him for 1 year. But, you know, that's just how it goes. And he made the most of his 1 year as a Buckeye.
Yeah, he did. Sorry, I'm trying to charge my computer here. But anyway, I mean, again, an incredible game, just an incredible season.
Do you want to touch on the defense at all?
Yeah, no, I was about that's where I was going. I actually wanted to
cool.
the floor and just talk about this defensive performance a little bit. Obviously, in the first half, completely shut down Notre Dame. First off, Jeremiah Love, you never wanted Ohio State. Let's just say that right now. You were a non-factor. You were not non-existent in this game.
Which is,
I know they said he was 90-95%. I don't believe that. I'm just saying that right now. Clearly,
so bizarre, so bizarre. I think they got down too much, that they were like, I don't know if we can really risk trying to get the running game going, because they got down. Like, it wasn't like a methodical. You know, they got down quick. I mean, they got down quick. It was 31-7 in a blink of an eye. It felt like. So they just. Yeah, I mean, the defense just kind of eliminated Jeremiah Love, Riley Leonard in that first half. And then, of course, second half, our DBs want to get a little handsy. Some plays go their way. Greathouse just came out of nowhere. I mean, we knew he was a good receiver coming into this football game, but that second half, I mean, he went crazy. You know, he made some great plays and had that long touchdown run where he broke a couple tackles off. But overall, in this run in particular, the defense they were the silver bullets of past. So,
yeah, Nick, could you say Great House made a couple great house calls for Notre Dame?
Boo! Boo! I knew that was coming as soon as you said that.
Yeah, I just think the defense, like you said, they had a game plan, they executed it. In my head, like coming into this game, you know, like what are some things that we have to do to stop the run and force Notre Dame to throw? And when we forced Notre Dame to throw late in the game, they responded and they made some big plays. And we had talked about it. Like, if they beat us throwing the ball, like, hats off to them, because it's not their strength. And they were able to claw back into it with throwing the ball. And, you know, ultimately we won the game. We can't nitpick this team too much. They just won the national title. But the defense outside of the DBs was excellent. The DBs got a C- from me.
I mean, dude, like, in a game, I mean, we only sacked Leonard twice.
Yeah, but he was running a lot.
No, he was. No, for sure. But I'm saying, like, just on straight dropbacks. I mean, we only got to him twice, but I think he got pressured a lot. I mean, he was trying to get rid of the ball quick, and that made him very inaccurate at times when he was just trying to get rid of it, because he knew pressure was coming, he had to do something, or he was like kind of checking it down, and it was short gains. Again, Cody Simon, you can't say enough about him on this run over the whole season.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I was looking at it. I actually, when I was listening to this podcast earlier, I predicted Lathan Ransom was going to lead the team of tackles, which actually didn't end up being too crazy of a statement because he was fourth, and he was behind the two linebackers, Sonny Styles and Cody Simon. Cody Simon led the team. And then Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom are the next two. And so, nothing just got past our linebackers. Our linebackers cleaned everything up this year. And so I think just overall, Cody Simon was kind of the shining star on defense. We didn't really expect him to be as good as he was. And so, hats off to him, just, being the captain. He ended up being the defensive MVP of almost every bowl game, other than the one that Jack Sawyer took the touchdown back, But yeah, just, I don't really have a ton to say about the defense. They did their job. And before we move on to anything else, I'd like to shout out Quinshon Judkins. He kind of took a back seat this year to Travion. And even in the playoff, he was kind of outshined by Travion in his big plays. And he scored a touchdown in every playoff game. And then last night he scored 3.
Well, didn't he have 2 against Texas too?
He did.
Yeah.
7 total this postseason, I believe.
That's nuts.
Yeah, he's a touchdown machine. And I think the comparison that, in my head, he plays just like Kareem Hunt, like a young Kareem Hunt. Explosive, short yardage dog. Just can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Gets gassed if he has to run.
It was hilarious when he got hawked. I'm like,
gassed if he has a long run.
I'm like, oh no, he's about to get hawked.
He broke it free, and you could tell he hit his top speed, and then was slowing down.
Yeah, I was like, oh dang, he's about to get hawked down there. But they still fed him. They got him his touchdown. He got the work all the way down there. They gave it to him to finish it off. But that's a good call out, JD. Quinshon was.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure we talked about it because he's a guy, like I said, he kind of gave up a lot to come to Ohio State just because he knew he was going to be splitting carries with Travion, and he wanted that opportunity to kind of shine in a spotlight like the national championship. And he did. Yeah, he did it. And so I think he deserves all the credit there. Those 3 touchdowns don't just happen overnight. That was the product of his work. And so I just want to make sure that he gets that recognition.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like that. I think it's important to note real quick on the offense. Emeka Buka, Jeremiah Smith, Trayvon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, all 4 over 1,000 yards this year.
And 10 touchdowns.
And 10 touchdowns. That's also important to note.
That's crazy.
Yeah, all 4 had over 10 touchdowns.
Historic season. Defensive wise, I see someone talking about here the secondary. Doug said, I was shocked Jordan Hancock let that guy get behind him. He was the deep safety, but he got caught looking in the backfield. I'll be honest. I think I think the secondary just took these receivers for granted when we got to the second half. Let's call it what it is. I'll give Notre Dame credit, especially Greathouse, for playing really well. He's come up with big plays for them all year, so I'll give him that credit. But I do think the defense, secondary, just kind of nonchalantly just let him back into it, especially Davison Igbinosun, man. You need to return to college. I think you're a great leader, but dude, I don't know what NFL team you're going to be on, man, if you keep grabbing every single thing that you see.
Dude,
if he's grabbing these guys, imagine at the next level.
Yeah. Did you hear how mad Street was getting on the call too?
Oh,
he's
like,
who are you waving off? You were obviously holding.
Yes,
every time, dude.
He's you've been doing it all year.
They celebrate all the time. I love how that's oh yeah, big incompletion. It's you obviously held it. So the flag comes out, and he's over here doing the sword, and I'm like, yeah, dude, you just got called for another penalty, bro.
Literally, Greg Newsome impersonation.
The guy. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say Caleb Downs, dude. That's all. Just Caleb Downs.
Worth every penny.
And he's back. for another year.
For me on the defensive side, though, JT Tuimoloau, he's going to get the shout more than anyone else, I think. Clearly was not 100% with the ankle. I mean, we saw him wear down at the very end there. Fantastic game. I'll say he was on credit with 1 sack, which is a little surprising. I thought he had one also at the beginning of the game, but maybe it said it was just a tackle for loss, so I don't know. But either way, great way to end his Buckeye career. I'm seeing some comments here. Okay. Everyone's wanting to talk. Okay, got to move on here because everyone's wanting to move on to some of the things that have come out today. Before you know what? We'll make an entire episode. Well, you know what, guys? What we're going to do in the chat, because we want to talk about this a little bit more. What we'll do in the chat, we're going to go back at some point, because, again, we have a long offseason. Not only will we talk coaches in Ohio State history, let's go greatest teams in Ohio State history. And then we'll do an episode on that, too. I feel like that'd be a fun, short episode. But I want to get you guys – I know a lot of you guys have asked about Calvin Simpson-Hunt. I know you've asked about Jim Knowles, Davidson Igmanosin, a lot. So, first one, I'm going to go up here. Make sure I give him credit because this has been asked a lot. Okay, the first thing, Preston asks us, is Jim Knowles gone? Hearing reports he's going to Oklahoma. So the Jim Knowles information, I mean, as of right now, I mean, he's the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football, so let's just say that. It's not a money issue. His fiance lives in Oklahoma. He coached at Oklahoma State for 4 years. I think if he left, it's not – personally, I don't believe it's about money because Ohio State can raise that pay and keep him. I think he might – Oklahoma, I think, is another home for him just based off the fact, again, that his fiance lives there. So he might want to go. I don't know what's going to happen there.
Would it be to be the head coach or just the DC?
DC.
I thought
he was interviewing for head coaching jobs last year.
I hate lateral. Like a lateral move for him, it would be irritating to me. Like I get it. It's home, but it's like you just won a national title and you have the best safety in college football coming back to your program. You would think you might want to stick around.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
it'd be
and again,
frustrating.
he's not going to a better. I mean, there is no better program. Let's be honest. But I mean, yeah, that one's weird to me. And then given the history Oklahoma State has with Oklahoma, that would also be a little weird.
I feel like it's like a clash. I don't know.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first big DC we've seen move this offseason. I mean, Tom Allen going from Penn State to Clemson, that was based off the fact his family lives in South Carolina, my bad. So I could see it, but I agree with you, dude. I would be frustrated. And then it makes you speculate who the DC could be. And I think they look at JL a little bit. I think you look at Laurinaitis.
You think Tim Walton would be in that conversation?
I think he's in that conversation too. Maybe do a co-DC thing like you did a couple years ago on offense, I believe, with Kevin Wilson. Oh, yeah, you did. Kevin Wilson and Brian Hartline, co-offensive coordinators.
With Laurinaitis, I don't know if he's ready, man.
True.
He did a really good job with the linebackers this year. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like we need to see him in that role a couple more years at least.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I just know that sometimes like they love to promote their young guys. So
for sure.
It would be interesting. I mean, to
keep
say
them
the
in
least.
the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw rumors about Jason Taylor, defensive line coach from Miami, former NFL Hall of Famer. So that could be interesting. But we're just speculating on Knowles. I have seen some Oklahoma boards seem kind of confident that he's going, but we'll see. Everything just ended here. Notre Dame's offensive coordinator is going to go be defensive coordinator is going to go be the DC of the Cincinnati Bengals. That was announced literally right after they lost the game, basicly. So that was kind of hilarious.
I thought that was crazy. I thought you were just saying that as a joke.
I thought he was joking too.
Al Golden
he said it literally right after the game.
Dude, yeah.
I was like, where did that come from?
Dude, Al Golden interviews there. I think Ian Rappaport said tomorrow, and the expectation is he's going to be their new defensive coordinator.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of hilarious. And then Jermaine asks, any portal news, Calvin Simpson-Hunt. So regarding the portal, Ohio State quarterback Devin Brown is committed to Cal. There were a lot of reports way before we even got to the title game that he was going to Cal. He even said he hasn't signed anywhere. So that whole thing was kind of weird, I'll say, because he denied it flat out and then just went there. So, I mean,
I think he was trying to just keep it keep the main
Low
thing the
key.
main thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna focus on this team while I'm here.
I appreciate that.
I don't want
too,
to.
though.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to make it about me. I think that was his whole mentality.
Yeah.
He did the right thing by the team.
Yeah, for sure. And like, he's part of this team. Like, regardless of if he hit the transfer portal, like he's a national champion this year. So I think he did the right thing. Just not making that announcement until the game was over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Devin Brown, wish him all the best at Cal. He's going to have a battle that I'm not even going to try and pronounce the true freshman that they just got from Oregon because I will botch that name so bad.
They brought that guy in.
Yeah. So it will be and that kid wants to be a starter as a freshman. So it will be a battle with Devin Brown. So wish him the best. Has an opportunity to light up the ACC once again. Another former Ohio State quarterback. So wish him all the best. George Fitzpatrick, he has entered the portal. He transferred. I don't have the top of my head where he went. But anyway, Mitchell Milton, that's another big one. Virginia, ended up going to Virginia. I think that might be home for him. I could be wrong. Someone in the chat, if you want to let me know. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, and I'm trying to go through. I'm trying to literally look at 3 different things at once. So,
are there any crystal balls for Calvin Simpson Hunt right now?
Not now, but he is from Texas. So,
that'd be ironic.
My guess is Texas Tech would make a lot of sense. They've had a huge portal haul. It would make a lot of sense for him to go back home. I also think he is going to be he's one of the top guys on the market, like going to be one of the top guys available anyway. So I think it could be a little bit of a bidding war for him. I'll say this because a lot of Buckeye fans are a little bit disappointed he's leaving. I'll just say this. What really hurt him is everybody coming back. Denzel Burke, Jordan Hancock, them coming back really kind of hurt his progress a little bit. Now, again, could he beat guys out? I mean, obviously, he couldn't beat out Jermaine Matthews, but I think Jermaine is special. It's unfortunate because I do believe he's a really good player. And Doug Adds, actually, I'm glad he mentioned this because I forgot. He was originally committed to Texas Tech. So
we flipped him.
Could be going back home there. Wish him all the best. Devin Sanchez coming in. You have Bryce West. You have Aaron Scott Jr. I think the writing was on the wall there. And then final question, guys. What is Heartline status moving forward? So this was interesting. There was a reporter for 24/7 Sports that asked Cardinal Tate after the game about him potentially transferring literally right after the national championship game. And Cardinal Tate said, I'm trying to enjoy this win with my team. And then basically there was another thing that the same guy reported saying he's telling Brian Hartline, you better make sure you're not going anywhere. I don't know. So I don't know, Jason, if that's where your question is coming from. I'm not aware of Hartline going anywhere. I know for a fact, it's been reported everywhere. He interviewed for that West Virginia head coaching job. He wanted that head coaching. And I can't blame him at all. He wanted that head coaching job and didn't get it. I think it's going to take a Power 4 offer that's going to be too hard for him to turn down. I think West Virginia might have been because you see in the Big 12, West Virginia with the right resources could really contend there. But what are your guys' thoughts on Hartline?
Did he interview for the Cincinnati job, or was that just rumors? A couple years
never
ago,
confirmed, but it was never confirmed, but there were a lot of strong rumors that he did.
I feel like we talked about it on the show.
We did. Yeah. You guys, you guys think he's here for the long term? What do you guys think, real quick, on Hartline?
I think Ohio's home.
I don't know, man. I don't think he's here long term unless they ultimately give him play calling duties.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think Chip Kelly's here.
That's a good point.
Yeah, there's nowhere for him to go, right?
Yeah.
There's no upwards mobility on the coaching staff. He's kind of co-offense coordinator, whatever his position is, until that changes with Chip. But he is our best recruiter, so.
part of me wants to say that maybe he'll stick around until Jeremiah leaves. Just to kind of see that one through, because I know Hartline was one of the main reasons that Jeremiah Smith committed here in the first place.
That's a good point.
So part of me makes me think that if Chip, I think Chip might be here at least 2 more years. That's what I don't know. I just have a weird feeling that he's going to stick around.
Okay.
And if he does, I agree with you, Jordan. If he sticks around, Hartline might be like, well, there's really nowhere for me to go. I'm kind of just stuck here being the receivers coach, which don't get me wrong, he's probably the highest paid receivers coach in the country, so I mean, obviously I'd love him to stay because he just recruits his tail off and kids love playing for him. He develops guys to get to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, Doug adds at first Hartline didn't want to get into coaching. Now he's ambitious about being a coach. Yeah. Happens sometimes, man. Like, especially when you have this kind of success.
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine adds real quick. He leaves after JJ leaves.
That's what I think too.
I think.
But then here's another good point. Looking forward to Chris Henry Jr.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Chris
so
Henry
tough.
Jr. is going to be good too.
It's so tough because, okay, here's what I almost wonder. I'm not saying this happens, but I'm curious. Ryan Day has won a national championship here. This is my personal belief. I think eventually he does want a shot at the NFL. And if that's in the near future, do we see what we saw? Do we see Brian Hartline get promoted to head coach and then go through this again? And then go – it's really tough. I mean, because then you keep Hartline, who is considered one of the best recruiters in the country. It'd be a similar way that Urban did it. And again, I'm not saying Ryan Day's Urban Meyer, by any means. But I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at it that way because – I do think if he gets the right opportunity, he would go. I really do.
Yeah,
and it pains
probably.
me to say that, man, because I don't want to lose Brian Hartline.
He can leave and come. He can always leave and come back.
Yeah. No, exactly. That too.
So during that presser this morning, they touched on next season. They asked him a question about next season, and there was not a lot of depth to that answer from Ryan Day. And I might be reading into it way too much, but dude, who knows? He might just call it quits this year.
It was very bizarre. I thought the same thing. I was like, that's interesting.
I think there's a chance
about it, guys. I mean,
I know it's especially with what he went through with the family and everything that went into this season being as stressful as it was, and he reached the pinnacle, and like you said, TJ, he's gonna want to make that leap to the NFL sooner rather than later, especially if there's jobs available that he could interview for. Maybe not this season, but down the line. I think Ryan Day won't be the head coach in 5 years.
I would say 5 years. I think that's
a good timeline.
I will agree with you though, JD. I'm not going to sit here and because I don't believe it if I say it. It's not 100% guaranteed that Ryan Day is back. I think I can say that because people really just don't take into consideration everything that he's been through this year. And it's not even just himself, but his family. And I really do think that really takes a toll, not only on him, but on them, of course. And it could be a situation where, I mean, we've seen it with college football coaches before, step down and you sit for a year and then leave, take something else.
Isn't his son going to be a senior this year too?
I believe so. Junior or senior, one of the two.
I think that's going to be another factor. It's does he want to miss out on his son's senior year of high school football and kind of be a part of that recruiting process and stuff like that? Because I mean, that's important as a dad. You want to be there for that important step in your kid's life. So I don't know.
And his son's getting recruited by a lot of D1 schools. He took a visit to Boston College, and
that was his first offer. Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien.
So it's so I'm sure he's going to want to be involved in that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. It's just something to think about. We don't have any.
Doug, you're clutch, by the way. I thought he was a junior too, but
Doug's coming in clutch.
Appreciate you. Doug, appreciate you. He also, real quick, this is the last comment because I know we got to wrap things up here. But Doug says, I think Day is so competitive. He would want to have a winning record in the championship game. Maybe that's pure hope on my part. We'll see. It's a long way to go. We're, of course, speculating. It just kind of reading the tea leaves a little bit. The answer this morning was interesting. You're coming off a title, and you could easily just be like, this is home. Like, this is the goal is to run it back next year and go back to back. But, I mean, he didn't give that answer. So
he did not.
It'll be a topic. Brian Hartline will be a topic too because, again, I wouldn't rule out if something did happen, the easiest thing this late into this process is promoting Hartline because that really is, I mean, or Chip Kelly, but I'd rather do Hartline.
I don't want Chip Kelly as that.
I don't either. Real quick,
he's a great OC.
We have so many of you guys right now in the chat watching us. Biggest show of the year. So first off, I said that at the beginning, like I wanted to make this the biggest one that we have, the biggest episode we've ever had, and it has been. There's over 1,200 of you watching us. Guys, take that quick second. Go to the YouTube channel. It's right there on our profile. I know a lot of you guys are on Twitter. Go click on it. Go give us a like and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. Really help us grow. Again, we appreciate that support. And for all of you right now that are watching the show, I just want to remind you guys, be sure check out our pinned tweet that we have from Nico Sports. Go get your Ohio State commemorative football, championship football. You guys are going to want to make sure you get it. These are not going to last long. You've seen the link shared by Urban Meyer. You've seen the link shared by Berm. You've seen it shared by all kinds of other Buckeyes out there. Use our code Scarlet and get 10% off your football. Again, you can customize it however you want, but make sure you go get it. I'm telling you, they're not going to last long. Nick Jordan and I, we've already got ours on the way, and I'm telling you, it looks sweet. I showed the picture earlier. There's only 10,000 though. I don't know how many they have left because this started right after the game ended. So I'm telling you, there's not going to be more. There's not going to be a restock on these. So you want to make sure you go to nicosports.com. That's NIKCO sports.com. Use the code Scarlet, get $10 off your order. But I want to thank everyone in the chat. I want to thank everyone that supported this show. Guys, it has been just an incredible season. I mean, we'll never forget this. We started this show 3 years ago. Yeah, well, going on 4, I want to say now, 3, 4. We dreamed of moments like this, and we finally have it all together. This national championship that we get to all enjoy. So first off, thank you everyone that supported us, not only from day one, but even up to now. Just thank you guys so much for the support. The plan for the show moving forward, we're going to do still at least try and do an episode a week here in the off season. And just kind of talk about different topics, talk about head coach, like ranking head coaches, quarterbacks, seasons in Buckeye history. We'll do some transfer portal updates. We'll do 2025 depth chart projections. It'll be a fun off season, but I just want to say thank you to everybody because we really do appreciate all the support you guys have given us. Anything you guys want to add before we wrap it up?
Shout out Luke Montgomery, Findlay, Ohio. Played pretty well. They were rotating, dude, and that's the other thing with Justin Fry. They were rotating the offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Just
skip a beat.
Yeah, just worked, and national champions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't get any better than that. So
it really can't. It really can't. Well, guys, again, thank you all so much. We are going to talk to you guys all again soon, but enjoy the national championship. Go enjoy it. I'm telling you, go get your merchandise. Spend a little bit more than you would in the past. Load up. This is a historic season. It's one that we might never see again, truly, from just everything this team overcame, beating top 5 teams in the country to do it. Go enjoy it. But thank you guys all for your support. We'll talk to you guys all again soon. Of course, as always, go Buckeyes!